Hey everybody, before we start the list, I just wanted to remind everyone that any dates listed in this video are subject to change after the video is made. If you enjoy this video though, please consider subscribing or even just leaving a like. I work hard to get videos out daily and it's really nice to see evidence that people have enjoyed it. That's really it for now though. Thanks for watching and on to the video! The Japanese role-playing game, or JRPG, a genre of game with a very long history and an ever-growing group of dedicated players. What is a JRPG though, aside from a game usually from Japan or based on a Japanese style of game? The answer to that kind of depends on who you are talking to, but for this video, I want to focus on three things: action RPGs, turn-based RPGs, and tactical RPGs. Action and turn-based you probably already know about. Both are RPGs with a level up system and some type of skills to learn. Only one is full action when you go into combat, and the other is typically a system of battle menus, where you take your turn with time paused and then the opponent does the same. The last group of games is the tactical RPG. In the past couple of years, the English market has seen a surge in interest for tactics games, sometimes called strategy or real-time strategy. These games play out as though you have an army and are fighting with all of them against the other army, with each character having a turn and most of the story playing out in cutscenes between or during the skirmishes. I personally credit Fire Emblem for this phenomenon, but regardless of why, many new games have appeared trying to be the next big thing in this style. Some have gone on to be great new games on their own, and some have not. In this list, we will focus on any and all of these categories: action, turn-based, strategy. It's all JRPG fun, and with the sudden renewed interest in this genre, many companies have responded with a game of their own. Pixel Noir. While this may be the game starting us off, it definitely doesn't say anything bad about it. It is being described as one part Sin City and another part Earthbound. It combines that beautiful art form known as film noir with another amazing genre, the RPG of course, to form this spectacular looking game inspired by those old Super Nintendo games we all loved as a kid. Or maybe I'm just old. Regardless though, you can try the game out for yourself on PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vita, Nintendo Switch, Windows, and Mac this December. Iron Danger. This game has been described as a genre-blending tactical RPG with simultaneous turns and time rewinding mechanics. And while this may be a mouthful and we may not know a lot about it yet, the idea definitely gets my attention. I have loved time manipulation mechanics in games ever since playing the Prince of Persia games on GameCube, and I always love a good turn-based game. While it does sound like the turns will be taken all at the same time, it could still turn out to be a fun battle system if the time mechanics work out. It releases on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Windows next year. Necromunda Underhive Wars. You may have heard of Necromunda before if you follow tabletop games at all. It did really well as a miniature game based on the Warhammer 40k universe, and is now moving its way into the video game world. A tactical turn-based game was the obvious genre of choice for a game like this. You play out the epic war between rival gangs in the world created in the tabletop game. While it is still in its early phases, it does look like it could be a lot of fun for fans of XCOM and Wasteland. It will release on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Windows next year sometime.
Air recycled 1,000,000 times over. I see a humanity too weak to turn back the madness. This is where I belong. This is my home. My territory.
Edge of Eternity. Here we have a Kickstarter game that I personally cannot wait for. Edge of Eternity is a space JRPG with a massive open world to explore and a turn-based battle system that looks so gorgeous it's hard to turn away. The idea of having a great turn-based JRPG to get lost in on PC really gets my blood going and is an excellent way to transition into the rest of this list. The game is set on a planet called Herion that is divided into 3 realms, and excuse me if I butcher these names, but they're called Astria, Juner, and Dehofstra. An alien invasion takes place and it's up to you to explore and battle your way to freedom. It's scheduled to release on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Windows, and Mac next year.
A world at war. Another worldly threat. To face it, we must find her. She's the only one. The only one between us and annihilation.
Labyrinth of Refrain, Coven of Dusk. I know I said in the opening that I would only be covering 3 types of JRPGs, but, well, I lied. The Dungeon RPG, or DRPG, is a first-person dungeon exploring game where one usually fills out their own maps, and always has a turn-based combat similar to Etrian Odyssey or Demon Gaze. This is another in that genre, and it actually looks like it could be a lot of fun, as long as you enjoy that type of game. Check it out on PlayStation Vita, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and Windows this September 18th.
Labyrinth of Refrain, Coven of Dusk.
All right, let's do this!
Here I come!
On to the next one.
I won't let you down!
Leave it to me.
Take that!
I can do this.
Huh?
Tale of Ronin. While there isn't much that we know about this game quite just yet, I have to admit, the trailers released for it make it look like it could really be something special. It has some serious Muramasa vibes and appears to have decision-based gameplay, hopefully with that increasingly popular butterfly effect. All the website says is an RPG game about camaraderie and betrayal, about war and peace, and above all, honor. You can find out for yourself December of this year on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Windows, and Mac.
This is a tale of the masterless and the dishonored, shed by the world and lost to the way of the samurai. They walk their own path. This is a tale of bloodshed and redemption.
Metal Max Xeno. Metal Max is a series of games that you may have never heard of simply because only the 4th game in the series was ever to make its way to English audiences. All that will change though with Metal Max Xeno. The latest game in this turn-based series focuses on tank battles and is the 6th game in the series. Will it take off now that more and more people are playing turn-based games? Find out on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita on September 25th of this year.
人類さん、こんにちは。
Wasteland 3. Speaking of Wasteland from earlier, Wasteland is an oddity in the video game world. It introduced many gamers to strategy games without them even realizing that they were playing it before it was too late. They were already hooked. It plays much like an XCOM game, focusing on turn-based squad combat. Think Fire Emblem, but geared much more towards an American audience. If it sounds like something you might like, then check it out on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Windows, and Mac next year.
Who the fuck are you? This is hardhead turf.
Bard's Tale 4, Barrows Deep. If you've never heard of the Bard's Tale series, you can officially be forgiven. The series has been basically dead for years. The last game came out in 2004, but that didn't stop the developers from raising over $1 million for the cost of developing the newest in the series in barely 2 weeks on Kickstarter. This alone makes this a game to keep an eye on. Bard's Tale will be a dungeon crawler with highly customizable characters and many dungeons to explore. Check it out on Windows and Mac this September, and later this year or next for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Arduegus Hacharu!
Fell Sill, Arbiter's Mark. Another tactical RPG, Fell Sill doesn't really seem to break the mold as much as you might hope. If you aren't really into the theme, which seems to be medieval, then you may not be into this one. However, for fans of Final Fantasy Tactics, this could really be what you've been waiting all these years for. Even the game's own YouTube channel compares their game to that classic. You can try the game when it comes out in 2019 for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Windows and Mac, or you could try the demo now. Check the description for details. YIIK, a postmodern RPG. YIIK is a game that I personally saw a trailer for and immediately had to play. Luckily, the developers have actually released a demo for this game as well. The game looks different than any other game you might see currently being made today. The artwork is beautiful and reminds me almost of the style used in Okami or maybe Katamari Damacy, but much more refined. Regardless, this modern, or should I say postmodern, this modern take on turn-based games of old has grabbed my attention, and I highly recommend playing this demo, which I will once again include a link to in the description. The battles aren't just attack and defend, with many actions in the game having a storyline while you fight, similar to what the new South Park RPGs have done recently. You can play the full game this fall. It will be released on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation Vita, Windows, and Mac.
On April 4th, 1999, I went missing. That night, a video of my last known moments was uploaded online. Everyone excitedly watched as I was pulled from an elevator by something otherworldly. This is a story about what happens when you look for someone who can't be found, and the strange things you invite into your life when you go to forbidden places.
Tales of Vesperia. The Tales series goes back to the early 90s, when many other RPGs were sticking with the turn-based battles. The Tales games always managed to combine action and combat with a reasonable and useful amount of battle menus. In fact, this battle system has been so popular that many other games throughout the years have tried hard to emulate its fast-paced action combined with the strategy that comes with a deep RPG. With a new game coming out almost every year, it's almost nice to see a remaster of an old game that some newer fans might not have had the chance to play. That's exactly what this is too. Originally released on the Xbox 360 in 2008, this remaster will feature updated graphics as well as all the content that was originally only available on the Japanese PS3 version. Whether you have already played this game or not, you can check it out on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and Windows this winter. Zanki Zero, Last Beginning. Right away, you may notice the art in this game looks familiar. Some, but not all, of the staff that brought us the masterpiece known as Danganronpa brought you this new franchise. However, moving away from the visual novel area into the dungeon RPG genre may lose a few fans. Yep, it's another DRPG. I know that games like this get a good deal of love, seeing as how a new Etrian Odyssey comes out every couple of years, as well as the Shin Megami games, which are also a part of this genre, but I do wonder how well this game will do. You follow the last 13 survivors on Earth whose bodies only last for 13 days before dying and being regenerated. It's a story that's as unique as what Danganronpa presented, but will it find the same fanbase that its creator's other hit game did? Find out on PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vita, and Windows in 2019. Super Neptunia RPG. The Neptunia series gets a lot of both praise and despise. On one hand, you almost always have a well put together JRPG featuring a cast of fun and cute characters. On the other hand, the humor in the game is almost always some form of fan service mixed with every possible meme known to man. Personally, I have always loved the games. As long as you can enjoy a decent game of this genre, and remember to always be over-leveled, as well as find a good bit of humor in the jokes usually pulled straight from 4chan, you too could love this series. This game takes a new approach to the series. The battle systems seem similar, but with a new spin on the inputs that make the game different from most turn-based games. Now, instead of a fully 3D environment to explore, you have a 2.5D map to traverse, and I, for one, look forward to giving it a go on PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch this November. Disgaea 1 complete. Disgaea has had a long history of being that one weird game with the warped sense of humor that you can level up to ridiculous heights in. And now if you haven't had a chance to go back to where it all began, you can do just that. Go back and experience the first story that started it all. The complete edition features a graphics update and a new Etna mode, allowing new characters to be introduced that were not found in the original. Join Demon Prince Laharl as he wakes up from a 2-year slumber to find his father the king is dead, and he must fight his way back to the throne. The game plays much like a Fire Emblem game, only with the ability to totally customize your entire army. Available on Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4 this October 9th.
You better have a good reason for waking me up. Who said I was dead?
I am very aggravated by this.
That's right. I'm Laharl, the heir to the throne.
Caligula Effect Overdose. Based on the Vita game by the same title, Overdose is almost like an ultimate edition of the game, being released on PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and Windows. It features new visuals using the Unreal Engine 4, as well as a slew of new content, such as endings and a new playable character, as well as supporting characters. The combat is a very interesting take on the usual turn-based games that this genre sees so much of. The story revolves around a virtual reality program called Mobius, where people go to escape their lives and live out their high school lives forever. However, there is a small group of people who don't want to be in this new world, and they form the Go Home Club, dedicated to escaping. You can join the resistance to escape from yet another take on this genre in 2019. It really is a fun game though, with a lot of enjoyable gameplay to be had. Valkyria Chronicles 4. Part visual novel, part turn-based action RPG. Yes, you heard that right. This series has been around a long time and is still going strong now with its newest release. In most of the games, you take control of soldiers fighting in a war, but the unique battle system is what brings the players back for more. In addition to the usual gameplay mechanics from the first 3 games, this game introduces a new soldier class called the Grenadier. They are able to fire mortar rounds at the enemies. If allied soldiers are present to provide battlefield information, they can fire without being seen by hostile forces. Join the battle on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and Windows this September 4th.
みんないなくなるなんて、そんなの嫌だ。
戦争に翻弄されながらも、
僕は狂ってる。戦争という狂気に飲み込まれてしまった。
全ては戦争を終わらせるために。
これまでなのか。
大切なものを守りたくて、自ら戦争と共にあった。極寒の地での戦いは熱い友情の物語だった。
生きてハーフェンに帰ろ
う。一緒にね。
戦場のバルキュリア4。
Dragon Quest XI. And finally, we come to number 1. Dragon Quest is a long-running series of JRPGs with a history just as strong and rich as Final Fantasy. When the game was originally released in Japan in 2017, it seemed like everyone else might not ever get a chance to play it. Luckily for us, demand for JRPGs has been at a high recently, and after the success of Dragon Quest VII as well as Dragon Quest VIII, my personal favorite RPG, on the 3DS for English-speaking audiences, it finally got announced for a Western release. The game plays like an old-school JRPG, with characters taking their turns and using quirky spells, gathering materials, and exploring breathtaking scenery. The art may look familiar to fans of Dragon Ball. Akira Toriyama does the lead character design for all Dragon Quest games. You can kill some slimes come September 3rd on PlayStation 4 and Windows, and a Nintendo Switch port will come later.
The power of light is best unveiled in our darkest hour.
It seems that grief and tragedy have followed you since birth. Cruel fate's dark plan has stalked you to the corners of the earth. You've brushed with death 1,000 times, yet still you have your life. It is your fate to save this world. For this, you must survive. Bright luminary, let the light shine on the world again.
Fate hangs by a thread. We must fight fire with cold steel.
All that matters is power, and the only power that matters is that of the darkness.
It's time to claim your birthright. Only you can save our world.
Destiny beckons!
This is where your story ends.
Do not lose heart. Do not look back. Until your time is through.
Bold luminary, we swear to protect you.
While we live, none shall defeat you.
Yep. We're all in this together.
Show us what you've got.
Let's do this. Lead on, darling.
That was the list. Again, if you've enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing or just leaving a like. If there's another genre of game that you would like to see a similar video made on, please leave a comment below. On the screen, you're going to see some videos of mine that I think you might like. That's it for now. Thanks for watching, everyone.